Alright, the plan is to finish this out. It's a little asymmetrical. It's not completely symmetrical on the base. I still have to pick at the edges. I'm debating whether or not to make it symmetrical. A lot of times they're not. I mean, the real ones. But I am going to trim it a little bit, so that it looks a little bit better. Yeah. It wasn't much, but I noticed it when I went inside. When I went inside and uploaded the video and did the thumbnail, I said, yeah, it's a little bit asymmetrical. So that's the first thing, and then I'll put the notches in and then I'll sharpen it. It's all pressure work. Yep, that's it. Come on. The tip on this needs to be refreshed. Looks like it's slipping a lot, so that means there's probably a lot of rock in the tip, or a lot of glass, obsidian in this case. If the tip is embedded with little fragments of whatever, it slips. It slips on the edge. There it goes. Much better. Yeah. I'm trying to pressure flake on an edge that's too thin. Hold on. Yeah, so I'm just trimming it. Working on the symmetry and the thinness. Yeah, this is the last pass on the bottom edge. Hopefully. Unless I get a big old stiff fracture. It got kind of crunchy right there. Dang it. I gotta watch it every second. I have to keep an eye on the edge. I mean, on the surface. the whole time. Yeah, I can't just trim without looking, because that happens right there. Very dusty. Feels like I got a piece of glass. That's annoying me. Let's see if there's something in there. I can't tell. It doesn't bug me unless I push on it. Sometimes I'll push on it. I'll find out soon enough if there's a little piece of glass in there. Yeah, working with chert is not as itchy. Working with flint or chert is not as itchy as working with glass or volcanic glass or obsidian. Alright, let's get this notched. Let's get it notched. Alright, this time I'm not going to widen the notches out a whole lot. That's the plan. Let's see, is that... It's not high enough. I gotta start the notches a little bit higher than that. I don't know. Let's see. See, I don't want to get it too narrow between the bottom of the notch and the bottom of the base, because it'll snap. That's when I have to push the hardest, right here in the middle. And if it's too narrow between those two, it'll snap right across there. See, it's easy when you start. But as it gets thicker, if there's any mishaps or if there's any damage control necessary, you gotta push really hard. To fix it. I don't know if this obsidian is more dusty than usual, but I seem to be getting a lot of dust with it. The pop-outs have got to be nice. They got to behave. Yeah, the pop-outs have got to be nice and clear of any step fractures. Sometimes you get step fractures in here in the pop-out, and it makes it look pretty bad, I think. But if it's a nice clean one, it looks good. But sometimes it matters what's on the surface in front of that pop-out. If it's an irregular surface, sometimes the pop-out doesn't work right. Yeah. See, it hit the step fracture right there. That was already there. It tried to go through, but it kind of shattered. The end of the flake shattered quite a bit. You saw how much white powdery look to it. You might have noticed the white powdery look to it at the ending of the flake. All right. The top of the notch is more curved than the bottom of the notch, I think, on these northerns. Still a little crunchy in there, but you know, I could probably send some flakes in, or send one nice one in there to clean that up. I'll do the other side first, and then I'll think about sending a flake up. Because if I create step fractures on the other side, I might as well just use one to clear both sides off. One flake from the bottom, instead of trying to do a lot of flakes. The least number of flakes I can do, the better. Or the least number of flakes I need to do, the better. Yeah, symmetry is sometimes difficult to judge when it's a wide point. So I try to make the notch entry a little bit smaller on the second attempt. It'll be a little bit off on the symmetry, but the real ones are like that. A little bit off on the symmetry with the notches. Now, okay, I thought that was going to be a major step fracture, but I picked out some of that, which is good because I'm going to pop out a big one right there in a minute. I don't want any obstacles. Are the openings about the same? The entries on the notches are about the same. This one might be a little higher, but it's more narrow, or maybe not. It's probably not more narrow. I did pretty good on this side. It's not too hard to get the nice pop outs with Obsidian. I wish I could do this with the flint ridge for the dovetail, or I wish I could have done that, but the flint ridge is a little bit tougher. Yes, it is. That's good. Now, as long as there's no cracking going on. I pushed really hard on that one, hoping for a good flake. And it was good. But when you push really hard, sometimes it develops a crack going in. I just hit this top of the notch entry, so I think they're both now the same, or maybe this is even wider now. I felt myself hitting that top of that ear right there. Which opened up that notch entry a little bit. It's okay. Okay, I'll do that in a minute. Alright, let's see. One or two more pop outs and that's it. Yeah. Yeah, I might not need to send a flake in. Well, I do on this side. Yeah. Alright, let's do this little flake here, and that's it. And then we'll sharpen it. Yeah, I popped it out. It was undetached. See, there was an undetached flake right there. So this little flake popped it right out. And a good thing it didn't scoop it too much. It tried to scoop it. I could do another one. Note to self, do not try to pick out with the file. Yeah. Do not. Scratches it. I'm gonna have to live. I don't have to live with it, but I'm just gonna live with it. Yeah. There's a little bit of crunchiness on both sides. Unless I can see an easy way to run the flakes. If the surfaces are perfect, I'll take some more flakes. If they're not perfect, I'm not going to mess with it. If the surfaces are not perfect, I'm not going to mess with it. And by perfect, I mean perfectly convex, with no concavities that could mess up the travel of the flake. And no major obstacles. Because even though crunchiness can be removed with a nicely placed flake, the crunchiness can also cause step fracturing. Yeah. But everybody knows that. Even the guys that don't nap, they know that. Yeah, there's just a lot of crunchiness in there. Does not look good. That looks much better. If I can do that on the other side, that'd be awesome. Right? Do I take the chance? Yeah, I'm going to have to prepare a lot better. But it's better to do this now than before I start notching. Once the notches are done, it's a little bit safer to work on this basal edge, even though it's starting to get more delicate, because I'm getting closer to the notches. And I got to be off center a little bit. The only place I can hit is that right here, this area, up into that area. I can't come straight from this because there's too much of a dip right here. This is the only place with some meat on it, so I gotta shoot it up at an angle like this. Yes. Yes, because this one here, I tried to get a good flake up in that direction. It went a little bit too short, but it did manage to pop out that remnant. But you can see how crackly it is. It doesn't look as cool as this. Let's see. Do not do that at this stage. All right. Let's see what we can do. I think it did it. Did it do it? Haha. It did it. It did do it. I'm amazed. I am amazed. I'm looking at the rest of this. Okay. Let's finish up. Yeah. Okay. I gotta be careful that I don't push too hard to do this final edge work. Ah, come on. It doesn't like it when I try to be too gentle with it, but I'm not gonna risk snapping it. What am I doing right now? That was really thick right there. Yeah. Yeah, that's better. I noticed in the comment section, a lot of you guys, not some of you guys, but over the years, I've noticed a lot of people, if they can, they think to themselves, if they can predict what I'm going to do next, it means they're making progress on their napping. And I've been thinking about that and thinking about that. And I told you before that I don't always do the correct thing, so there's more than one way to finish it out, or more than one way to take a flake. So it's not always the best way. Especially if you're a little bit neurodivergent. If you have a different way of doing it, it's not a bad thing. If you think to yourself, well, I would not have done that, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It might be a good thing. So right now I'm just picking at random, looking for dull spots, and you probably can't see what I'm doing. But if I can see a dull spot that's been ground down, or if it's too fat or a little bit too crunchy, I try to thin it down or eliminate the crunchiness, or snap off that little dull area. No, not like that. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes there's a dull area, but I press on it and it just crushes. But that's a newbie type of mistake. It just means I need more practice on sharpening. I use pretty much the same tactic on sharpening. These days, I just pick at it. I don't do much beveling on my by default on my own stuff or off camera. It's all just picking at it, and it seems to be the easiest for me to do on video as well, even though it might be hard to see what I'm doing. Yeah, but yeah, I got some black gloves on order. I have to check the date. If it's gonna take too long, I'll just order some black leather dye and get it in about a week earlier. See if the gloves, or it's just one glove actually, if the glove is out too far, like 2 weeks from now, I'll just order some leather dye. I'll check on that tonight and just dye the whole glove, or at least the areas that show up in the video, dye them black. I don't know how good I'm doing this. Seems to be a little bit crunchy. On the crunchy side. I don't know, this obsidian is a little bit dusty. Yep, every obsidian is a little bit different. This feels like a triple flow, but it is a triple flow, but it's not like the regular triple flow. This is dusty, and it has little crunchy spots everywhere. But I try to pick them off, so it's a sharp edge. Is that some grinding? Yeah, that's some grinding right there. Yeah, it leaves a little, even with very careful picking at the edge, it leaves that white powdery dust on the edge. And a little bit of crushing. Yeah, I can pick on that forever. All right, so the only spots I see. Let me take a good look at it. The only spots that I see that were giving me trouble, that are still kind of there, is that one right there. I messed that up earlier. Right there, but I minimized it. I got rid of the crunchiness down here on both sides, pretty much. There's still a little bit more than I would like, but other than that, and it's got that translucent or transparent obsidian in there. Yeah, so this is a trade item. This is not going to be in the auction. Okay, I'm trading Bill, right? This is from Bill's stuff. I hope I'm getting that right. Let me see. Yeah, I'll be sending this to Bill for that box of awesome obsidian. Yep, so there it is. My final answer. Yes, yes. Okay. There you go. That's it.